Anthropomorphism, written by iManager. Oh! Geez, sorry. Let me loosen that bolt there a little bit. Better. There we are. The chassis is all fixed to your frame, and now let's run a systems check real quick. Affirmative. I slid out from under the ATB, the all-terrain bus, and grabbed my tablet from the ground, mindful of not to unplug the uplink to the vehicle. I scanned over the growing list of updates from the bus itself and gave OKs to all the checks, having gone over them before. Should we dial down your neural network? No. I swear you're the sensitive child. Should I mash your carrots up first as well? Yes. The petulant response was bolstered by the classic emote, and I had to hold back the groan that bubbles in my gut. I swear your siblings didn't give me as much grief as you. You're lucky you're the baby, otherwise I wouldn't spoil you so much. I sighed in reluctance and ran a cycle through their pipes one more time. But the good stuff, for no other reason than he knew she was nervous. She was the last in her line of manned rovers being sold today. I checked off the last of the scans and unplugged the tablet. All right, you run the course and I'll go check out your prospective boulders. Okay. I pat the hull and walked out of the garage, wiping off the last of the grime on my hands before entering the interviewing room. There stood a very stoic alien. I was against the sale to the Stoics, cause they have a history of being quite rude. And no, my opinion wasn't skewed because of that bar fight in Rexel 9, and I'll stand my ground till the day I die. Salutations, Minister Toffel, I greeted professionally with a small bow. Salutations, mechanic. I take it my property is suitably prepared. He responds in the same monotone that ended up with a black eye and a bruised rib. You should have seen the other guy. Your ATB is running the obstacle course once more. They're a bit nervous, I responded neutrally, vehemently against the tone and terms of Sapien was using about my baby. Don't you mean you're nervous, mechanic? Should I question the integrity of the product? That tone came once again like a nightly haunting and irritated me just the same. No, I mean ATB-9 is nervous. You are aware of the specs of the vehicle that you are purchasing, correct? I was starting to let my frustration show, and I did it on purpose. Stoics hated it. What is there to know? It'll take me where I want to be. I understand that it's zero-G rover, but it's street legal on most planets. I furrowed my brows, not to draw the ire this time, but out of genuine confusion. Forgive me, but might I ask your name and intended purpose for my baby? I am Minister Toffel, and I am purchasing this vehicle for my son to transport him to and from his educational pursuits. The confusion was quickly wiped from my mind, and a very still rage replaced it. My prospective bias seemed to relax at the neutral expression that overcame my body and mind, and he continued, This will be a sufficient enough status symbol for my son, hopefully to find an attractive mate and gain prestige in the... I apologize for the trouble of coming here, but I'm afraid that we have no further business to attend to with each other, I replied flatly, as I planned out the stern warning I'll be having with my intermediary very soon. His bragging and monologuing came to an abrupt end, and the look he gave was as if he had switched emotions from before, confusion and growing anger rising in his form. And what do you mean by that, mechanic? I do have a name, arsehole, and we have no further business because you are apparently under a misconception of why I am selling them. It is because they want to be an explorer, to join with the Sapiens and map out new planets and moons, not play Jeeves for some spoiled rich kid. I started to rise out of my seat and planned to walk out of here, head held high. This is preposterous. I paid your promoter a hefty sum to secure this sale, and I won't have some mechanic. The Stoic quickly silenced himself at the barrel. It seemed to pan into the void the longer he looked down it. Good day, sir, he sputtered and maybe squawked. Wasn't sure if their species could do that. Then he was gone from my interviewing room, and I fetched my phone. I dialed up my promoter. Here's Johnny, what can I do for you, buddy? You're fired, I reveled in the silence that followed before I continued. You have breached the contract we set previously, and you'll be hearing from lawyers and maybe the court about all previous sales on your accounts to see if you received any other donations to expedite unlawful slavery of my children. Good day. I closed the line and ignored the subsequent ringing before I sent the entire conversation to my lawyers and left it at that. I came back to the garage to a messy and muddy rover whose engine kept revving in excitement. It simmered down a little at my posture and expression. The ATBs had no face per se, but I've gotten real good at being able to read them and their siblings. Ned? Not at you, sweetie. Just a bastard who doesn't understand what he was doing. Bastard? No. That's a bad word, hon. Don't say that around your sister, please. Bastard! I moaned out in the coming pain and pulled at my face. Sadie is going to kill me. End of story. Story number 2, The Galactic Joke, written by Paggy UK. To the Galactic Council, humanity was a delightful mistake. Oh, they were technically sentient, but just barely. Their early days of council membership were full of baffling incidents. A diplomat who thought the Grand Chancellor's crown was a party hat. A delegation that brought snacks labeled spicy crybaby chips taste the suffering. And that infamous karaoke incident on Viral Prime. No one talks about the karaoke incident anymore, mostly out of trauma. Every species had a human joke. The Zilari told one involving a human trying to teach a rock to dance, ending with both of them becoming internet famous. The Javari's favorite involved a human turning a black hole into a tourist trap. The humans themselves would tell these jokes, laughing harder than anyone. Humans embraced it all. They called themselves the comic relief of the cosmos. They sold I'm with stupid shirts in 100 languages. They once pranked the council by replacing all formal greetings with finger guns for a week. And despite it all, the humans kept showing up. To meetings, to parties, to crises, sometimes just to say, hey, we brought cookies. The other species, old, proud, refined, couldn't make sense of them. The Varnak, a stoic race of crystalline scholars, once asked, why do you not take yourselves seriously? The human ambassador, chewing bubblegum and wearing socks with cats on them, smiled, because someone's got to keep things light before they get too dark. Then came the darkness. It didn't announce itself. It didn't negotiate. It arrived. A massive void pulse of destructive energy ripped through most of the galaxy. A galaxy-dooming event of epic magnitude. Entire star systems went dark, as waves of void energy tore through the spiral arms, corrupting data, mutating life, silencing planets. Refugees poured into safe zones. Ancient empires trembled. The council splintered into shouting matches and silence. The Cathan homeworld cracked in half. The Zizari lost their sun to entropy. The proud Zalari were overrun by their own AI defense grid, which turned on them without warning. And amidst the horror, 1,000 different species waited for someone to do something. And someone did. They didn't ask for permission. They didn't wait for the protocols. The first human relief ships were ugly, haphazardly patched together, flying under banners like Team Spicy Disaster and Operations Hugs and Duct Tape. They brought food, water, medicine, and laughter, but most of all, they brought hope. The Zalari elder watched in confusion as humans unloaded crates while singing something about Sweet Caroline. The Javari child was carried out of a burning city by a human in a pink exosuit with smiley face stickers on the chest plate. Hold tight, buddy, the human said, panting. I got you. But why? The child asked. The human never responded. He calmly got the child to safety and went back into the inferno to aid others, never once stopping. The fungus flood on Mulgo 3, humans built a dam out of shipping containers, old vending machines, and dismantled pieces of roller coaster they found in orbit. Structural integrity. A Mulgori engineer asked in horror. Oh, nah, said the lead human. We used optimism and zip ties. It held. The cold void storm that hit the Zalari colonies, humans set up thermal shields using the heat from their engines and their own bodies, sleeping in rotation so the Zalari civilians could survive. The Zalari, who once laughed at the human clumsiness, composed a new symphony in honor of the warm-blooded ones who carried fire in their hearts. The council tried to understand. Why would they help those who mocked them? And a tired, grease-streaked engineer replied, because it's not about who laughed, it's about who needs help now. They weren't clowns anymore. Well, they were, but on purpose. They wore the jokes like armor. They made light of the darkness. They pulled others into the warmth of it. They let people breathe again. The Grand Chancellor once asked the human commander, Admiral Ree Mendez, how her people kept morale in the face of despair. She just grinned. You ever tried to panic when someone's offering you hot chocolate and a bad pun? He had not. But now he understood. When the void pulse receded, mysteriously vanished as fast as it came, the galaxy counted its scars. It also counted its survivors. The council called for a ceremony to honor the brave and the fallen. As names were read, reflective moments of silence respected, and noble species stood tall. A cheer went up when it came time to honor humanity. They didn't walk to the stage in formation. They danced. One wore a chicken hat, another dabbed. Someone handed the Chancellor a glitter bomb, and the whole damn hall laughed. Not at them, with them. Now, when a species joins the council, they are warned. You'll meet the humans. They're absurd. They'll bring snacks to a crisis, turn your translation matrix into a comedy sketch, and somehow survive by yelling at the laws of physics. But in your darkest hour, when your world crumbles and your people cry out, they'll be there, with duct tape and hot chocolate and terrible jokes and open arms. There's still the joke of the galaxy, but now it's the joke that saved us, and we'll never forget the punchline. End of story. I would like to thank our T5 members and patrons, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Vidmori, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.